All right, it's Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, and after 2 full days in office and 2 days after Trump issues unconditional pardons for all 1,500 J6 prisoners, the D.C. prison system is still refusing to release some of them. Why? On what grounds can they keep these people locked away in prison? We're going to explain what's happening and what Trump's apparently going to do about it. Also, Donald Trump just ended government-sanctioned race-based hiring in the U.S. government. Yes, that was actually happening under the Biden administration, ending DEI. And as you can expect, MSNBC and legacy media freaking out. Joy Reid and her guest melting down live on air, actually arguing for race-based hiring in this country. The American Free Press publicly pushing this kind of stuff. Did you ever think you'd see that? Well, we have the full clip. We're going to show it to you, and more stories as well from around the country. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel. And consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. So it's day 3 of Trump 2.0, and so far the theme's clear. Promises made, promises kept, as Trump has now done more in 2 full days as president than Joe Biden did in the last year. One of the most important promises Trump made, which people don't really talk enough about, too many people seem to just take it for granted, is the promise to end all government-sanctioned racism inside our federal government. This morning, delivering on that promise, ordering all DEI offices and departments to be shuttered, closed by end of day today, and all DEI employees placed on paid leave starting today, the people who work in these departments. And why is this so important? Because DEI is basically reverse racism. Joe Biden greatly expanding DEI in the federal government over the last 4 years, which should have no part in hiring based off immutable characteristics. Our government doing that is insane. This is America, not South Africa. It doesn't matter what color you are or what gender you are. None of that matters at all. All that matters is that you're the best person for the job. And the fact that we're even discussing it, the fact that Democrats believe race-based hiring is a good idea, is completely and utterly bananas. But that's where we are. The good news, Trump has ended it. Yesterday, the Trump administration's Office of Personnel and Management, OPM, has notified the heads of all federal agencies and departments that diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, offices are to be closed by end of day today, Wednesday, and all staff to be placed on immediate paid leave. Here's the memorandum from OPM sent to all departments and agencies informing them of the immediate closure and asking employees if they know of any efforts to disguise these programs by using coded or imprecise language. The order includes the immediate takedown of all outward-facing media websites, social media accounts of these DEI offices, and the withdrawal of any final or pending documents, directives, orders, materials, and equity plans issued by the agency in response to the now repealed Joe Biden Executive Order 14035. That's the DEIA in the federal workforce order that Biden signed back in 2021. Look, this is a good day to be an American. Do you want your child or grandchild growing up in a country where their government hires people based on race? It's insane. Well, as crazy as it sounds, the mainstream media is melting down over this, arguing for race-based hiring in the federal government. Our free press, the American free press, American media arguing for DEI, arguing against merit-based hiring. Here's Joy Reid of MSNBC with her guest as they lose their minds about this, claiming that there will be unconscionable pain, they said, now that merit-based hiring returns. What? How?
Overturn the Constitution to do his evil and wrongness.
Let's put some stuff up here. He was very excited about the end diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in the federal government. What's the impact?
Yeah, so that's obviously very bad. It's particularly evil to. I always think of prisoners, people who are incarcerated who have changed, who have transitioned. According to this, you're going to take trans women and put them in male prisons. What do we think is going to happen to them there?
Yeah.
That's not going to be a good day.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a thing that has real impact. There's also a real obvious equal protection challenge. And so, again, Trump will do this. He will be sued. This is one of the ones that could be, if not completely stopped, delayed. But there will be people who suffer unconscionable pain because of what he's doing, and not in the kind of like, oh, somebody just called, Gracie George. No. These are people who are going to be hurt and physically assaulted because of Trump's executive order.
Two of the renamings, we were talking about it in the break, rename Mount Denali back to Mount McKinley, just as not.
In another story, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, announced this morning that Congress will investigate Joe Biden's pardons of his family members, and even more important, that Congress will investigate the pardon of Anthony Fauci. We reported on this yesterday. Does Congress have the will to really get to the bottom of COVID origins? If they do, now is the time to do it. They now have an executive branch willing to help them. The FBI stonewalled Congress and Rand Paul for years about this. Well, with Kash Patel as the soon-to-be confirmed FBI director, Tulsi as DNI, RFK Jr. as Secretary of HHS, all that was left was the Republican Congress deciding if they were gonna spend more time on this. And they've decided, yes, it is a priority to get to the ground truth about COVID, about Fauci's role in the pandemic and the Biden's ties to Ukraine, and how and if those ties are connected to any of this. Watch.
Mr. Speaker, to potentially have any type of congressional action on the pardons that President Biden issued over the last couple of days?
It was shocking. I mean, it was shocking what President Biden did on the way out, pardoning his family for more than a decade of whatever activity, any nonviolent offenses. It was breathtaking to us. I don't think that's anything like that's ever been anticipated. And by the way, go look at the tape. 4 years ago, when it was just implied that President Trump might do something similar, they were apoplectic. Joe Biden himself, Adam Schiff, Chuck Schumer, roll the tape. They all said that would be crazy and unconscionable, and now they're cheering it along. To us, it is disgusting. To us, it probably proves the point, the suspicion that, they call it the Biden crime family. If they weren't the crime family, why do they need pardons, right? Look, there's a lot of attention that's going to be paid to this, and I think that is appropriate, and we will be looking at it as well. So, yeah.
In another story, Donald Trump pardoned all 1,500 J6 prisoners on his first day in office Monday, 2 days ago. We reported on this yesterday and said then that the D.C. police were already pushing back on it, refusing to release them all right away, delaying the release of some of these prisoners. Well, yes, folks, that's happening, and as of right now, as of the time of this recording, there are around a dozen J6 prisoners who are still in prison, even though they've received a full, unconditional presidential pardon. That means they're free. The prison, the state, or D.C. has no legal basis to detain them. This morning, family members and friends of these prisoners, along with other Trump supporters, began gathering outside the Central Detention Facility in D.C. As of now, the excuse the prison's given is that the correct people who need to sign off on these specific prisoners, they say, aren't in the office. They're on vacation or something. Who knows? Well, that doesn't matter. Donald Trump should go down there, go to the prison with his presidential motorcade, with his Secret Service and reporters in front of everyone, and personally unlock the cells of these remaining prisoners. Show these bureaucrats who are still fighting Trump from the inside, show the world that they lost. Their illegal lawfare has lost. It backfired. Now, we're going to keep you posted on this as more information comes out. In another story, Donald Trump has pardoned Ross Ulbricht, Silk Road founder. This was another campaign promise, a promise he made to the Libertarian Party and to the Libertarian wing of the Republican Party. Trump has a broad coalition now, right? He expanded his base greatly over the last 4 years, and this was extremely important. He promised to do it on day one. Well, he did it on day two. He came through, though. That's what's important. Writing this on Truth Social yesterday, I just called the mother of Ross William Ulbricht to let her know that in honor of her and the libertarian movement, which supported me so strongly, it was my pleasure to have just signed a full and unconditional pardon of her son, Ross. The scum that worked to convict him were some of the same lunatics who were involved in the modern-day weaponization of government against me, against Trump. He was given 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Ridiculous. Amen. In another story, reports that Trump is now laser focused on resolving the Ukraine-Russia war. Now that he's fulfilled the majority of these promises that he could with executive order, he's on to the real work, the hard work. First on his plate is Russia. Vladimir Putin signaling on Monday that he's ready to meet with Trump and talk terms. This is big. But Putin still has the upper hand. He holds all the cards here. Trump needs to shift the dynamic somehow, and rumors were swirling yesterday that we're about to see something big vis-a-vis Russia. Then this morning, Trump posts this on Truth Social. I'm not looking to hurt Russia. I love the Russian people and always had a very good relationship with President Putin. And this, despite the radical left's Russia hoax, we must never forget that Russia helped us win the Second World War, losing almost 60 million lives in the process. All of that being said, I'm going to do Russia, whose economy is failing, and President Putin a very big favor. Settle now and stop this ridiculous war. It's only going to get worse if we don't make a deal. And soon, I have no other choice but to put high levels of taxes, tariffs, and sanctions on anything being sold by Russia to the United States and various other participating countries. Let's get this war, which never should have started if I were president, over with. We could do it the easy way or the hard way. And the easy way is always better. It's time to make a deal. No more lives should be lost. And we're going to follow up on this story either tomorrow or the next day because there's a lot more happening here behind the scenes. We'll do it all in a different video. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.